So you've done face-to-face PT in the past?
Yeah. So I'm like...
You've earned your stripes.
Yeah, like 8 years in the game.
It's not just,
in and amongst nutrition
it's not just
and fitness.
an online coach who hasn't been a face-to-face PT.
I've got those soft skills.
Yeah,
I can hear about your day.
He's cut his teeth training Karen and Greg.
Yeah, I've done the Karen and Greg.
So what do you think stands out as, like, obviously you guys have already said, like, identifying who you want to work with. What else stands out as, like, that first 6 to 12 months? What do you need to get right to actually get this thing up and on its feet?
See, I don't even think it's what you have to get right per se. It's like, because it's very, very easy to over-polarize and sexualize programming and coaching, your model, whatever it is, right? Like you can make anything fucking sexy. However, we all know, anyone worth a grain of sand, the bare principles, the first principles, the basics are what fucking work. How you apply it are great. Like you're adding some crumbs on top of the cookie and making it a little bit sweeter. Yeah. But realistically, the basis of it is simple. For me, the thing that I have found consistently as feedback across all clients, whether they were completely successful, 75% result, changed their mind halfway through, was my passion to them succeeding.
Yep.
And us figuring it out, it left me room to fuck up and still figure it out. So like, as long as I came through authentically passionate about them wanting to win, and it wasn't bullshit, it wasn't a sales gimmick. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand if sales isn't your thing. Like for me, having 7 years history of sales makes it easy. It was a piece of piss to me. Just like, but again, selling someone to me wasn't through a sales tactic as much as it was. I just build rapport with them. I make sure we make sure they come through warm. We make sure that they're not like unaware of matter at some level. And then at a certain point, I'm just able to exactly, but that passion about solving the problem, and like whether that passion be like that problem be I want to get to stage and I don't know how to do it, or I want to be dick skin lean but I've never done it before, or this time I want to be leaner than I've ever been, or it's just someone who's like I want to get into training for the first time, I want to get to a 5-day week program, I want to get to whatever it is. As long as I've been passionate about conveying that, and like we can fucking do that. Like I find myself getting more excited and enthusiastic, especially if I've had some modafinil and I'm fucking ready to go. And we're on a consult call. Like we had it booked in as like, oh, have your free 15-minute consult call. It was never 15 minutes, so we changed it to an hour. Because it was like, I don't have 500 clients coming through. I know there's like your funnels marketing pushes that are like, just have cold leads, just get all the money, the numbers in, fuck it, just have your 3% sales
volume
rate.
matters,
That's great, but for me, I'm having people come to me genuinely passionate about wanting to improve, so I've got to be just as passionate. And so I was meeting their energy and raising it. And like, if I'm more excited for your goal than you are, like, fuck, you don't want to sign up for that. And that's not being arrogant. It's just that if all of us as coaches, we know the basics are very similar. I have my unique way that I do things, you do. But like, realistically, the basics are pretty consistent. We all know realistically what they are. As long as I can convey that to you in a way where I'm genuinely excited about delivering it and talking to you about it, and like we catch up and you're part of the community and you can tell that I'm super excited about that for you, there's no way you go to another coach who's bored as fuck and they're just like, oh, it's another fucking Gen Pop coach. Like, here's my like, how did you feel about this 1 to 10? Why can't that be done? Why haven't you done it before? Like, you've got the script, that's great, but the script has no passion or tone. You're not signed up to that.
The script needs to be the structure for your passion, not the thing.
Yes.
It's like it's curbing you so you don't talk for 2 hours.
Yes.
Like that should be the outlet.
Exactly.
It's your
prompts
prompts
from a strategy.
But like it's not the be all.
That I think as long as you can convey, that's the only thing, if we say in the terms of getting right, I think is the thing you get right. If you can get that right in the first 6 to 12 months, it leaves you room to fuck up and your clients be like, no, I get that. Like, I know you're new. I know like this is newer. I know that you haven't done this for ages, or I know that you have like this is a new metric or a new system you tried. It didn't work out, great. But I know that you're going to come back and assess this more than me.
Your intention is there.
You're not going to find me not work my fucking ass off Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Thursday. Like, there's not a time where I'm like, oh, it's the weekend, don't message me. You fucking tell me Saturday, like, hey, I noticed this, but like, we increased my carbs for the weekend, but I found I blow out too much because I get too carried away. Sweet, I'm pulling that back in for Sunday. Like, we're changing that night because I'm like, I don't want you to do that again. That's a day wasted if I don't correct that. So I'm making that change. Like, to me, fun is seeing people succeed. So I'm at like a Saturday night. I'm doing my study. I'm doing like glossary reviews. I'm doing data point reviews for uni. But if there's a client program due, if there's something excited you, there's like, I'm working that because that's fun to me. I get excited about it, and I'm like, I'll be tired or like, I'll be coming down to the end of my day or whatever. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, I just thought about this new program or this like case study in my head that I'll map out a program for. Or like, who does that fit? What template can I fit that for? Or this might apply to this client. And I'm like, sweet, I'm doing that. Like, I'm going to do that. And to me, I think that is not a deciding factor, but it's definitely elevated in a much shorter time frame.
Yeah.
Where we are, because it's like that.
Especially if you're in that build phase.
Exactly right.
Like you gotta we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Like you gotta fucking, it's head down, ass up.
Yeah.
Don't promise a result. Promise your effort.
Yeah.
And I think if you
Yeah,
can
I
do
like
that,
that.
that is
I like
fucking
that.
undeniable.
Yeah. So you used the word authentic earlier, which I think has been bastardized now.
Yeah.
It's turned into this weird fucking... It's like...
It's fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's sold
that
as like
word is fake now.
the pedestal, but it gets so under-delivered.
I think
this
a better-
candid video of me in the mornings doing
Yeah.
my morning routine that is conveniently where the camera's watching
Yeah.
me, but I'm not actually
That's
doing
authentic.
that. That's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
authentic
So
of
authentic.
me.
Yeah. I think a better word is vulnerable.
Yes.
So being willing to look someone in the eye on the internet and say like, hey, this app's new.
Yeah.
And it's going to have bugs and I'm going to fuck
Yeah.
shit up. And like, there's one thing that I've started doing because I coach a lot of coaches now. It's like at the end of the consult sign-ups, just like, there is absolutely no ego attached to the program that's coming.
Yeah.
There's all the nutrition plan or any other structure. If you don't like it, just tell me.
Yeah.
Like, and that sort of like open, if you take that open, vulnerable, I'm a real person, this is a team thing.
Yeah.
Ditch the fucking be professional,
Authority,
all that bullshit.
I'm here, you're here.
Yeah, because that's what programmers do, and programmers, I think, post C word,
Yeah.
so we don't get marked. I think programmers are done.
Yeah.
You have to be a coach.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you can't offer more than a program, like
100%.
shout out to ourselves. Our own app is coming out in the next 2 to 3 months. $15 a week.
Yeah.
It's a program.
For every program you could need to get a result by yourself.
Yeah.
We're still going to have full books for coaching. Why? Because we coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to sell $50, $60, $70, $80, $90 because you think you're the best programmer,
Yeah.
it's like, nah, bro.
Yeah. The
It's
market's
not
changed
it.
and you've not changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that,
And you're too egotistical to want to change.
Yeah, and ChatGPT, whatever the fuck it is,
it's
number
GPT.
4 is coming out.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's going to write better programs than you anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and that to me is like, the big thing I think that not elevated sounds arrogant, but it definitely took off confidence in me was that I was willing to say I will not stop working.
Yeah.
Even if I'm wrong, I will find you the answer.
Yeah.
In and amongst my network, like I was lucky we had Bros of Brains going like before I started, so that level of some authority was there because me and Scaff can banter for days, talk shit, and there's also education amongst it, different realms of powerlifting and bodybuilding. So there was that sort of authority base in there. Then I competed, which again, like if you go back to the other podcast, was a bit of about the business, why we did it. We could then market the competing side to show that I also back up what I say.
Yeah.
I'm not just sitting here expecting my clients to give me 150 when I
Yeah.
do 95.
Yeah.
Like I will show you firsthand as a leader. I'll lead from the front.
Yeah.
I will drag you with me and I'll fucking elevate you. Like if you sign up to my team, you're not playing B grade.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
with me and I'll help you fucking win. But I'm also the one in the front doing it and I will back up what I say.
Yeah.
And I think all of that in the sense of like authenticity
Yeah.
is
In the real sense.
in the
Yeah.
real sense where people got interested. And then it just became a matter of getting the result and being able to share it.
Yeah.
Because I knew I could get the result. I've got people lean before. I've got people strong before. I've got all of that. I've been lean before. I've done comps before. I've done all those things. And I've now got the certs to back it up and the education. So to me, that first bit where everyone's like, oh, what courses do I do straight away? What do I do this straight away? I'm like, just chill on that. Like,
Yeah.
get in and be openly passionate about it. It's great you want to upskill and educate. That's fantastic. Get the education. But how much of coaching revolves around talking about the Krebs cycle? Fuck all.
Zero.
Absolutely
The
zero.
client doesn't care.
I've never had to draw it on a whiteboard.
Understanding acetyl-CoA and explaining pyruvate to clients has never come up.
Doesn't change anything.
It doesn't change a thing.
It's just a weird flex.
If I can fucking sit there and say, you know what, this went wrong, but holy fuck, like this next idea to me I'm fucking excited.
Yeah.
Like my check-in with my client, Michael going for season A, he messaged me after his check-in. He's like, dude, thank you so much for that encouragement. I was feeling pretty flat.
Yeah.
I was like, in my check-in, I said to him, I was like, bro, I'm so fucking excited for you. Like seeing where you are versus where I was, and I still got this place. I can't promise you the result, but what you're setting yourself, because he's an actor. So I'm like, the reverse out of this to get your headshots, your mug shots, your profile pictures, get some content, get some shit that will go into your reels that you can be like, hey,
your
director,
portfolio.
I can look like this is me. I've done this. I can be here. We can do this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm so excited for where that takes you. And I thanked him for giving me the genuine appreciation for the effort I put in by following through.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck, man, that just boosted me up.
Yeah, I think that team thing is what
that
is
community
it.
exchange.
Even being in a position to say like, I don't know if this is going to work.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think like
let's try it.
Yeah.
Find out, and then come back to me, and you can give me as much feedback as you want, as if it's going to work or it's not, and we're going to figure this out together. That like cohesiveness versus like go and do this and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Which one looks better?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, fuck.
Yeah. And I think that was a big part too. Like we kind of lent into, like we were honest and like open with our clients when we first got like the couple that we did at the start, and we were like, how does the brand actually resonate with you? Like, because a lot of them that initially, they're like your friends that come on board, they try and support you, and then that momentum starts picking up from there. But then a lot of the time, because we're pushing so much into such a short period of time, we were like, is the messaging actually like cutting through to how we want it to be received and stuff like that? So we were sort of like, we had that vulnerability and that transparency to be like, what is it actually like? What does it look like from the outside? Like, is this actually good? Like, is it good to interact with? Or like, what kind of messaging are you seeing from us? And like, is it what you want? Is it too intense? Is it too, this direction? Because if it is, then we need to pull it back because that's not where we want to go. And, we can have the perfect template for how we see it, but then we've got our own blinkers on to like how we see the future of it. And I think that was a big part. And then also just, I refuse to only do thought shots. I was like, no, like we're not gonna just do like the part where like you're the super shredded part because that's Instagram already as it is. Like
that's it.
That's everyone's highlight reel gets shown all the time, and they do the photo shoots for that 3 months of the year when they're super shredded, and then they show no other content in between. And it was like, if you actually want to resonate with clients, you need to show that you're putting yourself in their shoes, or that you actually understand what it's like to be uncomfortable or fluffy and stuff like that, and then they watch that transformation of you go from that to that. And I think that was a big part of it, because it was like, all right, well then that actually aligns with our values, because it's like, all right, I have a purpose, I'm being consistent, and I'm putting in intensity for this to turn into this. And then that keeps coming through the messaging. So and then the community part of it was like, how do we support you? Like, how do we get behind you? And like same with like when Ben and Tom got on stage, it was like, all right, we'll try and get everyone in like the group chat, because we have this big client group chat. And we're like, let's go to the show. Let's all wear t-shirts. Let's support. Let's be the loudest people there. Like, hype it up.
The level of not even ego. Like, it was more so like the confidence boost to be dead center of stage and hear your entire team in the fucking audience, and like awesome, knowingly be like, because we're new, right? We are a new face to coaching for sure. No one's going to debate that. I'm not going to challenge that. But that doesn't mean I'm wrong, or doesn't mean the things I don't know or things I know are wrong, or doesn't mean like what I'm saying is wrong. It just means that I'm newer to the environment where there's already established egos or names or whatever. I don't go in there swinging dicks or trying to fight anyone about it. Like, I don't care. Like, I know that out of sheer enthusiasm and excitement for what I do, will get interest. Whether that be like 20 clients this year or 10 in a week's time or whatever, like, it will come. So for me, it was like, I'm just there to compete and love competing and like being up there. We only had 2 clients, it was me and Tom. But that excitement of like being center stage and like
15 clients
hitting
in a
my
row.
shot, and there was like a row just full of like family. Because like the first time for me, it doesn't make it like too personal, but the first show for me, my family didn't really know about it yet. They didn't really think it was something I did seriously. They didn't really understand it. Dad had just passed away. Mum couldn't get there, so it was like there was like Dolt and a few others there. And I was like, that was cool. Like, it was nice or whatever, but this was a genuine team wearing our shit. And like, come show day, they were rocking our shirts, rocking the community, rocking what like the messaging, and then I'm center of stage embodying that message. Like, each one of them messaged me after and was like, I now see what this can do. And I was like, I got cried from that. I was like, this is fucking like, that hit me up there when I was like, when I felt that, and then got the message off stage after I got the medal, and I was like, this is why I competed. Like, this is like, hey, yes, I'm competitive and I just want to fucking win. But at the same time, like, when it came to the marketing of the business and the reach of the business and show people what it's about, it's like, this is me dead center backing up when I tell you that over 2.5, 3 years, I've done every single thing that I ticked off and I had to do to get to this position. I couldn't guarantee the win, but it put me in the fucking position to do it. Now all those clients are like, oh, now I know I've got to get those check-ins done to you. I need to get that data to you. I need to
I know what intensity
feedback
actually looks like.
I know what it takes.
Exactly. And so that was that messaging and the reach that came through from that. I was like, that was fucking unreal. I want that. I want that for every client. And we've pushed that.
We are. So
like,
Michael coming up. We've got
I can't
all the team coming again.
How much of the team is coming just for Michael? But then season B, we've got like 8 athletes going to season B this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same thing. And eventually you're going to see us rock up to a show where there's a pack of fucking 20 or 30 people. They don't even have to all be bodybuilders. I don't give a fuck. Like, they're just all going to be there supporting that the 5, 10, 15 people on stage over that day or weekend are part of this community and this team.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was, definitely.
I think it's part of, like we talk about the community thing.
Yeah.
I think like you being authentic is showing the whole thing, like you said before. And I think that leans into the community because it makes you more attainable as a person and the outcome.
Yeah.
Like
you become a part of the community, not the head of it.
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly.
And like even bringing it back to like work, like us helping like the coaches and helping them build their business and stuff. Like at the start, we were just like, we're not really hitting, we're not really making a community. Like we kind of, it was like we're trading a professional service, which is fine, but we wanted to be something.
In amongst it.
And it's only really like.
We wanted to be in Queensland with these guys. Doing this.
That's it. And we wanted to have a group of people that we could have a conversation with every week and help and whatever and banter and talk shit and go have drinks tomorrow night, which is what we're doing. And I reckon one of the biggest catalysts for us was like telling them the truth. And it's like, hey, our business was fucked 18 months ago. Fucked. Like awful. 9 months ago, we had sat down at a table and we're like,
do we even do this?
Are we going to, if we're to keep going the way we're going, like Kim and I,
we're done.
Yeah. And it's like, so something's got to give, something has to change. And I think when you share those experiences, be it in bodybuilding, be it in business, be it in whatever, people are like, oh, okay, so this is what happens. This is what happens in business.
This is a normal process.
I'm going to experience this. Ben said I'm hungry and tired. I'm feeling hungry and tired. I don't want to go to the gym today, but I've still got to do this. I've seen Ben say, I don't want to go to the gym, but I still fucking went.
But I'm still doing it.
Same with us. Like, we don't want to get up and do all the things we need to do for our business because it's not getting instant gratification, but we know that we're going to get on the other side of this because Brooklyn and Ben said it, Jason and Ben said
Consistency is there.
Yeah, so it makes you more realistic to them. And then they're like, oh, I'm part of this community now.
Exactly.
And I try to make sure, like, even amongst the community chat where like it's hard to get other people to open up if you haven't opened up first. That becomes a bit of an issue where it's like you get that first sort of interaction with that, or someone's added the community. And so every time there's a new member or a new client added in whether it's a WhatsApp or onto the new app now, we'll always do like a welcome message. Just what they're chasing, why they're part of the team, what they're trying to do with us. And kind of like link it back to how it's still a direction of purpose, consistency, intensity. So like, they're coming with us for this. They want to grow this part of the body or present this for their business or, this photo shoot for them or whatever. Like there's a reason behind it. Fucking good luck to them. We got couples that are coming to us to get wedding shredded and shit like that. And everyone sees it then and they're just like jumping in like, fucking how good, sick, can't wait, congratulations.
Like, pushing it.
And that starts building up this excitement to be in the chat where we know like in the online space that's lacking all the time. Like you don't have coaches that can create that or build that, and so you just kind of feel like another number. Like, not that it's bad that you are paying for a service, so you are a number, but like you're not a part of this environment of success.
I almost think it's you don't have people who go to online coaches don't have the.
It's isolating.
And they don't have the group around them. Like we said, like all of our friends that we have the conversations, like deeper life conversations are fucking all over the place. Like it's not. I still have my core group of friends, but it's like when I talk business or training or whatever, it's like the people that I want to have those conversations with are scattered everywhere. And you're attracting a very specific type of person. Like we used to run, or we still do run lift-offs, and we had a really big team. At one stage, we had like 15 coaches in Victoria. We ran a meet. It was like fucking 60 lifters. It was like a full-blown powerlifting meet.
Lifting meet in the world.
And it was like by the end of the day, each individual's trainer groups were all friends. It was like, why?
Exactly.
Well, because you're attracted to the trainer, which means you all share some kind of value.
Similarities.
And now all of a sudden, like the whole group, obviously, like slamming floors and stuff for third deadlifts and everything. But there was like, you could see like they've connected because you're
and it doesn't
like
take long. Like it's pretty much what we said at the start was like kind of like above all else, like I think the success for Matter is going to be in the community that we built. Like, and that's not even like where we go in bodybuilding or where we go in business or like working with these elite athletes. It's like they all come together because they all have similar principles or they've already got these similar kind of mindsets and they've been in these environments that either don't support it and they're looking for those people And then the minute that you start putting them all together, it's like, oh, you're into the same shit that I'm into, or like, that's the kind of thing that I want, but I haven't had that environment, or I don't have these people around me supporting me. And I was like, all right, how do we make that, like, without being all Vin Diesel, like, how do we build a family? Like, like, how do we build this so that, like, you feel like you're being supported by this network of people who also gives the same shit about the things that you're interested in.
I think because I realized too at one point, like, I was my client. And that was the fucking cool part to me. It was like when I was really diving into like the pain points of like assessing who we're working with, regardless of what field they were. I was like kind of going through, and the majority of like, or the general trend was I was my client. And I was like, okay, so I'm attracting me. What did I go through, and what is to talk about? Like what are the problems that I had? And that got to a point where I was looking at, you know, I was isolated when I felt, even when I had friends and stuff, when I was doing the things I wanted to do. I was the odd one out because I haven't been drunk in 4 years. I was the odd one out because I haven't partied in ages. I only went into those environments because I felt like I had to be a part of something. I really always had these deeper conversations and only a few people, or I wanted to have these questions or conversations, or, you know, I found that I wasn't getting them. So I was like, well, if there's a place where those thoughts are being provoked or questions are being asked or that content's open to people, then surely more of me comes towards that. And that's when it started to happen. Like, even some of our girls will like message the group chat or message me like, hey, you're studying this in psych, like, what's your thought on this about like environmental psych, or like building your friends and your environment groups, your social cliques and stuff like that? Do you feel you owe people these trends, or do you feel you owe people these to stick around if you don't get along with them, or they're holding you back? I'm like, sweet, these are the conversations that just even beyond bodybuilding that I love to have and see people implement and use. So it's like,
and that's where programming isn't enough.
Exactly right. Like, program is not enough for that, because I can write a great program for I can literally tell you everyone on the phone now how I program. Like, I don't care. Most of our content's given that away for free now. I'll literally write you a leg day program because I'm like, it's easy.
That's not what you're coming for.
That's not what you're coming for.
That's not what the value is.
No, like, not at all. But then when you come to me and you ask these questions, you're like, oh yeah, you're right. I don't actually owe my friends fuck all. These circle of people to hold me back, and I don't need to be around them anymore. They tell me to get drunk when I'm supposed to be in a prep. They don't actually mean shit to me. Oh, that's okay to get away from them, because there's also a group here of people that have culminated that think the same as me.
There are people like me.
I'm not alone, though we're scattered in Australia or the world, and it's like, it's unique. I'm not isolated in that. I'm amongst other people that get shit done. And we fuck shit up. And we make it happen. And the more you get that, you're like, well, fuck, it's okay to be me. And that's where the thing that I found was, like, I wanted to create an environment of people that were okay being who they were, driven and wanting to fuck shit up and succeed. And so having that amongst clients, where I was like, sweet, this is like,
it's so interesting.
Part of the response we're getting is
that individual identity is of yourself, expressed in your I'm going to use the word brand, and then I'm going to come to you about that in a minute. But that individual value communicated through your brand is like, that's what we changed. It was like, this is who we are and this is what we do. Like, Jace was like, I'm going to say bro at the end of every sentence. And I was like, because you're a bro.
Like, you need to come through it.
I'm going to tuck my fucking shirt in, bro. I don't care.
I'll walk around the house in my jocks.
Right?
I'm going to have chicken and broccoli.
You're flicking in and out of personas to try and make something fit.
Wear a different hat all the time.
It's a misalignment.
So before we keep going, I just want to give you guys a little message about our Standout PT program. So Standout PT has been designed for personal trainers who want to sustain a long-term career in fitness, but right now they're sick of chasing clients, they're not making enough time for money, and they're super frustrated with the results that they're getting in their business, and they can't see themselves being here in 3 to 5 years' time. If you want to know more about the Standout PT program, head to STCfitLearning.com. Head to programs, and all the details are there, and you can book in your free exploration call where we can have a look and see whether or not that would actually be a suitable program for where your business is at right now. And back to the episode. Mentioned the word brand, and you mentioned it earlier, and I think you've done a few posts and stuff on it, and I want to take the opportunity, because we don't always have marketing experts on the podcast. It's usually just other people who lift weights.
He's been giving me shit all day.
So I think most personal trainers, when they hear the term brand, marketing, sales, if they tried to give you an explanation of what those three things are, it'd either be the same or they'd have no fucking idea. It's a combination of the same thing, right? So
the M on McDonald's.
So I need to put a logo on a t-shirt.
And that's the solution. It's just like, I'll just buy 50
My
t-shirts.
My name, fitness.
So what the fuck is brand? To begin with. And then we'll go on to the other two.
This is actually an interesting one because I had, when you're in marketing and I guess, marketing, branding in general, like it's easy to tell the difference. But when you're starting a company, that correlation seems to be the same, right? Like it seems to be like my branding is also my marketing, but they're actually two separate things, but they can't exist without each other. So branding is everything that goes behind the business. So like it's your tone of voice, it's the way that you write, it's, you know, the type of content that you're putting out in that kind of genre. It's working through all those niche points where it's like, okay, like how do I actually identify? Like your brand is the way that you show up consistently, and your colors, it's the same. It's the way that you show up consistently in the tone of voice and everything that goes behind that. Your marketing aspect is how you take that and you advertise it essentially.
Show it to
so
people.
like, so it's like, how do I consistently take my brand and I market what I'm doing with that brand to other people? Like that's your marketing. So like, it's a very, I put a post up the other day saying like your brand is not your logo. So your brand is everything that goes behind the logo.
Fuck,
so
why
like,
we spend all that money?
Yeah.
You could have just wrote STCfit in text stuff.
STC.
S is backwards.
Don't worry about that. We're everything behind that. No, but like it is a big part of it. Like, but they're both crucially important. So I think it's where people get mixed up a lot, and it's not clearly explained a lot of the time when people are doing like, you know, when you're a fresh PT and you're doing your own business as well. Like it's like, well, what's my actual marketing? Because a lot of the times they'll chop and change and they'll try and match up to what's trending, and then that dilutes your actual consistency with the brand.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part for us. It's like, okay, well, what can we, if our values are this and this is what our brand is, like despite, the colors and stuff like that, like, yes, you can make it all fancy and you can spend time doing that. You can spend time doing the logo, but that's not what your brand is. Your brand is like the atmosphere. Your brand is the kind of environment that you give people. Your brand is the type of tone and everything that you use with people. It's the type of passion that comes through. Like all of that encompasses your brand, and that's what you keep consistently enough for people to go, I recognize my experience with that brand from the logo. Like that logo is like that anchor point.
Yeah.
And so your marketing aspect is everything that goes into advertising your brand. So it's, you know, for us, it'll be doing the seminars and stuff like that. That's marketing what we specialize in to a large audience. So if we're going to be doing hypertrophy seminars, or if we're doing, you know, anything to do with mindset or psychology, like that's encasing everything that we do and selling it to somebody as a resolution for what they're looking for. So I think it's hard to differentiate if you're new to it. Yeah. But once you've got it, you've got it. Like it's a big part of it.
Is it accurate to say that your brand is who and your marketing is what?
Is what? Yes. Yeah. Very much so. Like who you are, what you do is both separate and the same at the same time. It's very confusing, but I think, that's a good way to put it, is like, who are you as a company? Yeah. And then what are you doing as a company to
we
help
just went
people
through, or we haven't even gone through yet. We have a new logo. That's it. We're in the process.
We're so into this process right now. It's so done. We've got this nailed out.
We got new colours.
In the process.
White and orange and black.
of a rebrand. And one of the things that we had to do was like define our business archetype. Yeah. And it was something that we'd never really thought about. And like, if you guys haven't looked at them, it's worth going to have a look at and see which one you think you are, because there was actually a discrepancy in what we kind of do in the back end of one part of the business was like a creative. We thought we were kind of like leading edge in a few things, so we were sort of half a creator at times, but then most of the time we were like hero archetype. So there was like this mismatch of communication throughout everything, and like as soon as I read it and as soon as I got that feedback, I was like, fuck, that makes 100% sense, because it's like there's this discrepancy between, because when we're on the podcast we're just us, which is like all that hero archetype, because that's what we're about.
But then you were trying to be,
then you go to the website, it's creator. It's like, well, the person that's it's not direct enough.
The person that's exactly, that's engaging with you here,
and I go here,
and you're like, well, that doesn't really align with like what I thought it was. Exactly right. And that's definitely like a big part of it, I think, is like, how can we keep, a lot of it comes down to just our values. So like like first center stage, we were just like, all right, what are our values? Because we're going to build everything around that. Like Our brand is built around purpose, intensity, consistency. Everything is encompassed in that. So we were like, all right, what does that look like? What does that sound like? What does that feel like? What is that environment for other people? How does that engage with other people? You know, how do we show up to these people? Like if we were to meet people in a room, like what's our persona? Like, what do we talk like? And what kind of conversations do we have?
Yeah, boy. How high do we pull our pants up?
How much do we tuck our shirt in? But yeah, like that's a big part of it. And then I think like the marketing part of it was even harder because I think we were worried about how we were coming across instead of just accepting that we were going to be intense. And we were, you know, we were kind of like, are we pushing people away because we're too intense? Or like, but it was kind of like, well, fuck it. Like that's what we are. Like that's what we want to do. Like our big picture is this. Like we are intense people. Like we want to work with intense people. We want to work with people who are consistently, you know, pursuing things and they have a purpose that they're drawn to. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, we're not going to fit the mold for a lot of people. And at first that's really daunting because you're like, well, are we pushing? Ben loves to trigger people.
The pastime.
Stresses me out sometimes. I'm like, can we just not get the brand cancelled? That'd be great. But a lot of it, like we were really worried at first because I was like, well, where are these people? Like similar to what you're saying, like you're the hero archetype and you're trying to make this creative space and it's like, there's that mismatch. And so for us, it was similar because it was like, all right, we both aligned on like who the people that we were interested in, where we wanted to go and what that looked like. And it was like, okay, well, the people around us at the time, we were already experiencing that we were the oddballs in our environment. So for us, it was like, okay, well, if we communicate that, we're only going to get the oddballs, which are like the outliers anyway. So it's like, are we missing this big pie? And we became a little bit insecure about that because I was like, well, we're not taking on the Gen Pop as much, or like we're only getting like these little like snippets of what we could possibly get. And it's like, well, everyone's trying to take from the same pie. So, you know, if what we do is we specialize in that 1% group, then that's what we do. And we just keep sticking with it. And that was part of the consistency aspect. I was like, all right, we just keep showing up the way that we are, which brings through that authenticity of the brand. And it was like, this is just what we execute and we stick with it and we just trust the process. And eventually that consistency is going to turn up.
Yeah.
So,
I think there's a bit of like self-discovery in that too.
Yeah.
Like actually understanding who you are, what you like, what you do.
Yeah.
Because like, you good?
It's a very funny thing. It's got nothing to do.
We'll come back. It'll come back.
Is it tucked in shirts?
No, my wife has my car.
Yeah.
And she called me and I was like, all right, this is a problem. I'm like, are you okay? She goes, what flavor petrol? She's gonna fucking kill me for saying that. What flavor?
Oh dear.
I'm like 98.
The highest number.
Do you guys use full strength cola or do you use the diet?
I hope she never listens to
bless
this.
You, Stella.
So I couldn't help but smile. It wasn't like you guys are saying.
I was like, there's something funny here and I want to know what the fuck it
I
is.
had to fucking say it. What flavor petrol?
The self-discovery thing. I actually watched our YouTube video with Ali.
Yeah.
Like the treatment thing.
Yeah.
And I looked at my wife and I was like, am I really like that? She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I just seem like really intense. She's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, when you're in work mode, that's, I'm like, I thought I was like if I'm at home with my wife, I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like I perceive myself as like goofy and I watched this video, I was like, Jesus, okay. So then again, it's like understanding that the message you're putting out continuously and being able to show up as the same thing all the time. It's like I didn't even realize that's what I was like in a work environment.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
And that's what you're passionate about, right?
Yeah.
So like that's where that passion comes through. So it's like, okay, well I know that I just instantly turn up that way. And if that's what I can be consistent with, then that's my brand. Like that's who I am. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm passionate about. That's what I'm sticking with. Like, and I think a lot of it starts out that way. Like you kind of like you're insecure about how you're being perceived, or like, am I smart enough? Like that imposter syndrome comes through. It's like,
or am I going to be received?
Yeah,
well?
like, am I going to be received well? People are going to think I'm a dickhead. Like, is that like, there's all that kind of like.
I think it's accepting that you are though.
Yeah, but if no one does, no one likes you either.
It. Yeah,
exactly.
You got to have a tribe.
You got to have a contrast.
Yeah. You got to appeal to a group of people, and that's going to be opposing to some people.
Yeah.
Because if you attract everyone, or you try to attract everyone, you won't attract anyone.
It almost should be a metric. It's like, how many people don't like you?
Yeah.
Because if it's none,
it's
no one loves you.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
we were saying before on the car trip to the gym, the jumper we want to release for winter.
Yeah.
I want one.
Greatness is only neurotic to people who don't understand.
Two, please.
That literally describes how I view life.
You guys can wear jumpers up
XL
here. Like,
and double XL?
Yeah.
For like about a week of the year.
Yeah, it's like a week where it's like almost
The
10
days you wear
degrees.
pants.
Yeah, and that to me was like we had like 38, like for me on an engagement post, 38 likes is fucking huge. Oh, sorry, 38 yeses on an engagement piece. I was like, on my level of followers, I'm like, that's fucking huge. And I had 2 no's. I asked both of them. I was like, I see you like said no, or like they reacted and like stirred the pot a bit. I'm like, okay, so I've got people thinking like exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
That is precisely what that sentence structure is about. If you take each word out of that sentence, you can literally break that apart based on the way the current crop of like acceptance coaches and like your Gen Pop mindset coaches are, and that this is neurotic and everything. This is like you don't have to do this, and I'm advocating mediocrity and blah blah. Great. I literally structured that in a way where it's like written as a quote. Yeah, it's my quote. I said it. But, like, it's written in a way where I want people to read that and go, nah, this guy's a fucking dickhead. Or, like, what is that? Why do I think that guy's a dickhead?
Yeah.
And that's the big thing where
it's a reflection of yourself. It makes you uncomfortable.
I try and position those situations where it reflects us, but there's also people that didn't like it. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so why didn't you like it? And I went to them and asked them. And I was like, okay, so what was the main reason? And I was like, oh, it's a bit cocky, a bit arrogant, or, it seems like I come across a bit egotistical. I'm like, but to who?
Yeah.
And I'm like, nothing about this statement says the person wearing it is great.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
It's
that
a
every
quote.
single person that buys this is
that's
greatness. And I'm like, what about it? And like, then they got to thinking. And I was like, okay, good. So it's embraced by most of the followers, like a percentage of our followers that is following the brand. Great. Yeah. That's great. It's on point. Then the ones who didn't like it said it matches the brand, but perhaps they wouldn't wear it or they think it's a bit egotistical. I was like, great. Yeah. You're now thinking about it and you also don't like it, but you say it's on brand.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
This next t-shirt, we're progressively getting more crass in our t-shirts.
Yeah.
So we've gone with don't eat like an asshole. Nice. Now we've got be less shit.
Yeah.
And then the next one's going to be #fuckable.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's like we've sort of like, oh fuck, we can't. Yeah. Like we got a pretty, like it's probably 70-30 female.
We've got a lot of female
client base.
Yeah. You'll be surprised.
And we were like, oh, we can't go there. And then we like started just joking about it, and all the girls laughed.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, everyone that comes and hangs out with us is fucking in on that anyway.
Yeah.
And even if they don't wear it, they'll go, that's the boys.
Yeah. We found that same thing, like with the content that we were posting, people were like, oh, like this is actually like stuff that I've thought about, but I've never really had like the balls to post to discuss. And like Ben's like, fuck, I'll trigger anybody I want to. Like I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like
Internet
a lot
argument.
of it was like,
it's not a debate if I'm right from the start.
on the toilet, just like. But yeah,
Did you see that one?
sends me things from the toilet all the time.
Get my 6 shooters out.
Screenshots of arguments. But yeah, no, a lot of it was very similar premise. Was like, oh, like maybe that's too much, or like we became quite like cautious of like how are we coming across, because like this is like this is our foundation that we're establishing. But then at the same time, it was like, well, who gives a shit? Like,
it's building your identity
who we are.
as well.
Yeah, like that's who we are. That's what we do. So like if we try and water that down, then we're living in an incongruence just to try and cater for a small percentage of people who want that.
Yeah, and you just become the same.
Yeah, you became the same as everybody else.
Yeah, which is like, we talk about differentiation, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's like everyone wants to be a little bit different, especially as a business.
Yeah.
And it's like for us and you guys, it's like just leaning into what you stand for, what you like to talk about, and just like, I don't know, what you want to be remembered for as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like we're the business coaches that still coach people.
Yeah.
So how many of them are out there? Which I just sidebar on that. If you are a successful business owner, why would you give up $100,000 to $200,000 a year business to then do the other business if you're actually really good at making the thing that you're doing really efficient?
Yeah, it just makes no fucking sense. You have both, right?
Yeah. Or it's like, I'm so rich, I'll just have 10 that I charge a fuckload of money. Anyway.
Yeah.
We diluted ourselves, I think, during the C word time.
Yeah.
Because everyone was like scared of getting cancelled.
Yeah, exactly.
There was pressure on
everything. You couldn't say anything.
Yeah. And I think obviously the pendulum socially is swinging out of that now, and we're seeing more and more people like be willing, like
to refute
Andrew Tate's
rebuttal,
the best example of that.
Yeah.
It's like you can come out and say whatever the fuck you want, and what do you go to? 50 million followers in a month or some shit.
Yeah.
So it's like that pendulum socially started to swing, so it gives you a little bit of freedom to just be yourself, and you don't have to be. I think what's important, because when we do the workshops and stuff about this stuff, and we like teach people, we have a post formula. Yeah. Of a strategy of putting together content that everyone can kind of use. So it's like, this is your heading, this is your next bit, this is the that kind of stuff. You've seen it in Standout. And we'll do an example and people think like...
That's the template.
I have to say... your workout's fucking shit. Because that's how Ben and Jason talk. No, you don't have to.
What was the other day? They're like, can you use other language bar like sucks? And I'm like,
of course you can.
Whatever you like.
I'm going to say,
I'm going to tell you it's shit.
Your lateral raises are shit. And this is why.
But I can, because it's my brand.
If who you want to train is upset by that, don't say it.
Don't do it.
If that's not your audience.
I don't want to train the person who is. So I do. So I think that's a really important thing, is like identifying... There's a little bit of self-discovery, I think, inside that.
Huge. And that's definitely like a huge portion of like the last 18 months, maybe like, I think maybe the first 6 months when we were really trying to push the start of it, because it was like, all right, we've got to put this in like fast forward mode now, because we're trying to cram 5 years in 12 months. And it was like, what's working, what's not working. And like, we weren't giving things enough time to be consistent enough to take that data in and be like, fuck, like we're just shooting shit out at the moment and seeing what sticks. And then a lot of it was like, okay, well, what can we actually be like consistent with? And I think that's the biggest part of it.